Hi everyone, and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions. My name is Tommy. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Dynamite Trujillo. Welcome to episode 62 of my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you if you're a returning viewer. Welcome back. Welcome if you're a new viewer. It is, how do I do this? It is a beautiful, sunny, breezy Sunday here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. It has been, I think, like 2 months since I podcasted last, and I've missed it so much. But as many of you probably know, I have been taking care of a newborn for the past 6 weeks. So that's been taking up like all the time. But I finally got Lucy down for a nap by herself, which is like super rare. And I've been just like burning to record a new podcast. So I took this opportunity today to do it. But I did have a baby on July 30th, baby girl. Her name's Lucille Valentine Trujillo. And she's awesome. And I love her. So fun. Okay, so anyway, if you're interested in hearing about her like birth story and her and kind of my pregnancy journey, I do plan on making a video in the not too distant future about that and kind of publishing it separately so that if you're not interested, you don't have to watch it. But I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on it. So we'll see what happens with that. So anyway, back to business at hand. Kind of forgot how to do this, I guess. But we do have a Ravelry group for this podcast. It is where you'll find show notes for all previous episodes. You may find show notes for today's episode. I'm not sure yet if I'll be able to do that. We'll see. And also, if the podcast happens to jump and it looks like it's like a different day and I'm wearing different clothes, that might be because Lucy woke up from her nap and I had to stop. I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see. I've got some coffee today, which is awesome. Talking doesn't come naturally to me anymore. It's in this mug that you guys have not seen before because it used to be my work mug that I kept in my office, but now that I'm on maternity leave, it's not there anymore. This is a Space Cadet mug, and it's by Poly Studios, the same company that made my F off I'm knitting mug. They made these mugs for Space Cadet yarns. Anyway, today's show is going to contain a lot of things because it has been like 2 months since I've recorded, and I made like 90% of the things that I'm going to show you today. Probably 95% of the things I'm going to show you today, I made before I had Lucy. I took about 3 weeks off of work before I gave birth to her and spent like all of that time just like making all the things. And I got a lot done. It was so much fun. And then since she's been born, I've hardly made anything. So I've got a lot of stuff though to show you. So let's get into it before I just spiral down in this whole rambly mess any further. Okay, FOs. So check it. I have FOs, whips, spinning, and sewing. What? I don't know. So FOs, I've got 2 really big, exciting FOs that I'm just like madly in love with, and I'm so excited about them. The first one is a cardigan. This is the Ambrosia cardigan. Okay, so I just realized that my setup is like too close to the camera and I don't have room to show you, so I'm gonna So this is the Ambrosia cardigan. This is a pattern by Gudrun Johnston, and I knit it out of Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, which is Brooklyn Tweed's bulky base, in the granite colorway. This was my birthday sweater. My husband bought me the yarn for this sweater for my 35th birthday, which happened in May, and this is it. So it's I think it was bottom up if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I finished it. It's a cardigan, it's open front, it has garter button bands, and a garter hem. And then otherwise it's just stockinette except for the yoke, which is this really cool slip stitch honeycomb pattern. It's got 3 buttons just here at the top, the rest is open, and then it's got a hood. This is my first time making a hood, and it was like really easy. I mean, you just follow the instructions, it's super easy. And I love it. I'm a lover of hoods. I love hoods, and it fits really well. It's not like weird or bulky or like awkward on my head. It fits really nicely and I love it. So here it is from the back. And you know what? Honestly, I don't remember much about knitting this sweater because it was so long ago. I did use toggle buttons, and these were some buttons left over from the Cowboys sweater that I knit for my mother's boyfriend, I think last year. And yeah, so let's put this puppy on. Okay, so here it is. Button her up. Okay, so this is it. So it's really thick and really warm because it's made with bulky yarn, and I love the way it fits. I really like the shape. It kind of like mimics an A-line. It does have waist shaping, but since it closes at the top and is open at the bottom, it's this really nice A-line shape, and I think it fits really nicely over dresses, which is what I'm wearing now. And the yoke detail is just so incredibly cool. I love it so much. Here's the hood. So I have definitely worn this since I wore it. It is summer, and as I've heard from a lot of you, it is really warm where everybody is. It's not necessarily that warm here. I live in coastal Northern California, pretty much the Pacific Northwest. Even in the summertime, I mean, I can always wear a sweater, always. So this was fine. You know, I've worn it out on a few walks. I'm a wimp too when it comes to being cold, so I'm pretty much always wearing a sweater. And this has been really, really nice. I love it. This hood is so, so awesome. And it's got this cute little point here. I just love it. I knit the size 32, which is somewhere in the middle of the sizing for this cardigan because it starts at children's sizing and then goes up to adult sizing. So yeah. Is there anything else to say? I love it. Like I said, kind of forgot how to do this. I'm getting back into it, getting back into the swing of it. I love the length of the sleeves. If I remember correctly, I don't think I modified this at all. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I could be totally wrong. I love the yarn. It was my first time working with Brooklyn Tweed Quarry. I do have a little bit left over, which I'm not going to show you because I don't know where it is, but I really like actively enjoyed working with it. I've heard a lot of people talk about the fragility, if that's a word, of this yarn, and it is a very, very, very loosely spun and loosely plied yarn. It's very loose, and it will break apart very easily if you tug on it, but it never broke on me once. That was it never unintentionally broke on me. Is that what I'm trying to say? You know, every time I needed to break it, it was super easy to break, but it never broke on me when I didn't want it to. So I loved it. It's very, very supple to work with. It was super soft, and it is, you know, I hate this word, it was rustic in a very good way. It wasn't though rough or itchy at all. It's very it's very cloud-like. Felt like I was knitting with clouds. And it was wonderful. I really, really love this yarn. If I remember correctly, I think I had 5 skeins, but I'm not sure. The yardage that I used is on the Ravelry project page for the sweater. And just everything about the sweater was a super huge joy. And it knit really quickly because it's bulky weight yarn. So I knit this thing like super, super quick. And that was back when I had like 3 sweaters on the needles. So that was really nice. So this is my birthday 2018 sweater, and I really dig it. I'm a huge Brooklyn Tweed fan. I'm a huge Gudrun Johnston fan, and this was a really nice combo. Okay, my next finished object is another sweater. Let's get this thing off. See, even today, it's like super sunny and nice, but I could keep this sweater on because I'm a wimp. Anyway, not to brag. I kind of feel like I'm bragging. Anyway, my next finished object is the Like a Cloud cardigan, and this is a pattern by Hoki Locatelli. I stalked this pattern release every day for so long. And the day it was released, I saw it on Instagram because she didn't say what day it was going to get released. And then she just kept teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. And then finally, one day it was released and she put it on Instagram. Within 10 minutes, I bought the pattern. I wound the yarn and I cast it on. Actually, I think I wound the yarn before I bought the pattern because I knew what yarn I was going to use. I cast it on within like 10 minutes of me finding out it was released. It's the Like a Cloud Hoki Locatelli. It's an open front cardigan knit with 2 lace weight yarns held together. And so this looks super weird, just holding it up. But if you can see, there's no edge treatment at all. It's just raw. It's got really nice, long, beautiful sleeves, dropped shoulders, and the texture is an all-over knit purl pattern. And that was not daunting to me, but I thought it might be annoying. I really wanted this sweater, so I didn't care, but I really honestly thought I was going to get super annoyed knitting the pattern because it's a 4-row repeat. No, it's an 8-row. A bird just flew into the sliding glass door that's right in front of me. But, which has happened before. Usually when a bird flies into a glass window, it kind of goes unconscious for a little while and is super dazed, and it's like the saddest thing in the entire world. This one, though, flew into the screen door instead of the glass, and then it just flew right back away. I hope he's okay. Okay, anyway. What was I talking about? This sweater. It's an 8-row pattern repeat. I think half the rows have knit purl patterning, and then the other half is either just all knit or all purl. And I super really thought I was going to get annoyed by that, but I didn't. I like totally didn't, which is really weird for me, but cool. So the yarns that I used for this were Madeline Tosh lace. I think it's called Matosh lace. It's a discontinued one. It's their old plied lace weight yarn in the gossamer colorway. I have none left. The other yarn that I used is Rowan Fine Silk in the antique colorway. Also, Rowan Fine Silk in the cobweb colorway, which was not supposed to happen, but it did. So I had 1 skein of the Matosh. I have I don't know how much I had. I had maybe like 3 balls, 3.5 balls, 2.5 balls. I think I had 2.5 balls of the Rowan. And I knew I was going to be really squeaking by on yardage because I had kind of just under what the pattern called for, but you know me, whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. And I ran out. I did not run out of the Rowan, but I thought I might. I did run out of the Madeline Tosh lace. And I knew I was going to run out, so I kind of reworked how I knit this thing to where the very last thing I did was the bottom, so you can see it, the bottom few inches of each sleeve, and I did it equally. I split up what I had left of yarn and I knit down to the same exact point on both sleeves because I knew I was going to need to introduce new yarn at some point, and I wanted it to match on each sleeve. So I scoured the internet for more Madtosh lace in the gossamer colorway. Could not find it. It's a discontinued base. I even looked on different bases. They just like, that colorway is like super hard to find on a lacewood base. Couldn't find it anywhere. I looked through Ravelry projects, thinking that maybe somebody who had knit with it has some left over. I messaged a bunch of people. I heard back from one super nice person, but they messaged me back like a month after I messaged them, and by then I was already finished them. But I couldn't find the yarn anywhere. So I had to find a different yarn to substitute. Now, if you can see, it's marled, so it's these two different color yarns held together. Now the pattern calls for two separate lace weight yarns in the same colorway held together. I did two different ones because I wanted a marl. So that's what it looks like with the two different yarns. It's a gray, the gossamer is a light gray. It's like a warm gray. And then the antique is mauve. And I totally have more of the antique down here in my stash, but I'm not gonna get it. So I decided what I would do is order more Rowan in the antique colorway just in case I ran out. And I searched through the Rowan fine lace colorways to see if I could find one that kind of matched the gossamer colorway, which was a light gray. I found one called Cobweb. Now it's hard to tell on the internet because you're not there in person, but it looked pretty similar. It was a light gray. The problem was that when I got it, so I ordered one ball of each off of a D-stash from someone who happened to have both colorways in that yarn. And I got it for super cheap. She was really nice and was just getting rid of it. When I got it in person, it was pretty different. And as you can see here, the difference between here and here. This was the original, this was the new replacement colorway. It's much cooler, it's a little lighter, but I do not care. I totally don't care. It is the same on each sleeve, so each sleeve does the same thing at the same spot. And I mean, you can tell, but it does not bother me. A normal person who is not a knitter would never ever notice. My husband said he thought it even looked kind of cool, like kind of the whole color blocking style, but anyway, that's the story with my yarn management on this cardigan. And like I said, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't take anything away from the sweater for me. I love it so much. So here's the front, here's the back, and it's a top-down construction, drop shoulders, and it's a long, long cardigan, which I really love. It's got a really long 2x2 ribbing at the bottom. I want to say I didn't modify this one either at all, but I honestly can't really remember. But there might be notes on the project page. Go check it out. The back neck I love. It's got this V-shaping, which I just think is really beautiful. And I'm going to put it on for you. The dress that I'm wearing has sleeves that are not very form-fitting, so it might look kind of wonky underneath the sleeves of the sweater, but whatever. Is it even? Okay, am I good? Am I put together? Am I nice and put together? Okay. No, I'm not. What's crooked? Everything on me is crooked these days. Okay. 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 So, here is my light cloud. I love it so much. It's like my exact perfect style of sweater. So, there it is from the back. And so what I love about this sweater is the open front style. That's my hands down very favorite style of sweater. I love it when it's just made to be open. I don't button sweaters. I love it when it's like this because I feel like it's an actual part of my outfit rather than an over outer wire thing. I love the drop shoulders. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of drop shoulders. This is my second drop shoulder garment that I've knit. I think it looks really good. I think, I don't know, I just love it. I really, really do. The other one was, I want to say also a Hohi Lokiteli pullover, but I could be wrong. I love the color. I love it so much. This like light kind of dusty rosy mauve with a light gray is my favorite color combination of all time. It's my two favorite colors like in the whole world. Like, you know, that like warm grayish, purplish, mauvish sort of color and then gray. So it's wonderful. Here's that back neck line thing. And it's nice and long, which is by far my preference for sweaters is to have them really long, really drapey, open, long sleeves. I love the sleeves. It's just wonderful. So with the yarn, the Madeline Tosh, which is the gray, is a 100% merino plied yarn. And it's really nice and tight and bouncy and beautiful. The Rowan fine lace is an alpaca and wool blend, I believe. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But it was really beautiful and really soft, really fluffy, gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. But it floofed everywhere while I was knitting with it. And it bothered me for a little while, for sure, because the flyaways, they bug me. They get in my eyes, they get in my nose, they get in my mouth, and I'm like, ugh. So I got used to it. I got over it, whatever. I was fine. I lived. The last part of the sleeves, this weird part here with the different yarn, was both strands that Rowan, so it was like extra floofy, but it didn't last that long. This sweater was just worth everything. It's worth the knitting purling texture. It's worth the fuzziness. It was worth knitting with lace weight, held double, so pretty much fingering weight yarn for a sweater, for a long sweater. It took a while. It definitely took a while, but just, this is one of my favorite sweaters I've ever made. My other favorite sweater I've ever made is the Even Flow, which is also by Hohi Lokiteli. Her sweater style is like really up my alley. I love her design so much, and I just freaking love this sweater. It's amazing. You should knit one. You should definitely knit one. And you can knit it with just fingering weight yarn too. You don't have to do two lace weights held together. Just saying. Just saying. Coffee is such a luxury these days. I don't usually have time to drink it. Because coffee is one of those things that I only like to drink when I'm like chill and I can really enjoy it. Same way with alcohol with me. Coffee and alcohol, I don't like partaking in them unless I'm like in a really good mood and I can just like enjoy it. So like running around crazy like with the baby, like letting it get cold and like, I just don't do it. So right now, okay. My next finished object is my Waiting for Henry socks. So the Waiting for Henry socks is a pattern by Tabitha Gandy, who is Tabby from the Hey Sister podcast, and I have got them done. So I cast these on a little while before Lucy was born and knit a lot on them in the weeks before she was born when I had all that free time, which was so great. And then I finished them up kind of in the first week of Lucy's life where she slept kind of a lot and I got to knit a little bit. And I love these socks. They were super fun to knit and I forgot my sock blocker, so I'm gonna go grab that. Okay, so here are my socks. I used Moonstone Dye Works for the yarn, which is my hand-dyed yarn company. And this is mostly in the Stellina sock base. The main color is Waxing. The pink is Lover's Rock. And the lighter color is Chiffon. And what you can't really see on camera is that chiffon is a cream color with pink and like kind of tealish greenish variations. And it's this beautiful color work pattern. I really, really enjoyed it. My tension for the color work on both socks is pretty wonky. You can see it pretty clearly on this one. I think this is a lot looser than this is, and it's top down, so this one was done before this one. I think it's kind of the same thing on this one too, but oh well. I'm not a perfect color work knitter. My tension definitely varies constantly with color work. But the rest of it is a 3x1, I believe, ribbing all up and down the sock. I did a 2x2 ribbing on the cuff, which was not called for. I think she calls for like a 1x1 twisted rib maybe, but I don't do twisted ribbing. I don't like it. I don't mind knitting it, but I don't like the ribbing itself. So I kind of always do 2x2 ribbing on socks. And I did the smallest size, I believe, which is a 56 stitch count. And for the toe, I did my normal rounded toe with the Kitchener finish. So it's not a complete point. It kind of cuts off at a little blunter angle than a lot of the rounded toes. Rounded toe. I feel like rounded toe describes two different types of toes depending on who you ask. It could describe what I call a wedge toe. And the way that I use it is to describe this type of toe where it's got several decreases all the way around, kind of like a hat decrease. But you don't decrease all the way to the end. You stop at a certain point in Kitchener. The last, I think it's like 8 stitches or so, or 8 on each needle maybe. I forget. I do it the same way every time. I kind of just made it up, and it's in the details of how I do it or in the project page for my Pandora socks, which you can find on Ravelry, where I'm Dynamite Trujillo. And I love these socks. They fit really, really nicely. You know, there is maybe a concern about color work going over your heel and your instep, but I don't have a problem with it. She does have you go up a stitch count, at least in my size, for the color work section, so that definitely helps. And yeah, they fit really nicely. I love them. And oh, I also did a heel flap and gusset. I don't know if that's what's called for in the pattern, but that's what I did. Whenever I do a sock pattern, which is rare because I usually do vanilla socks, I pretty much always change the cuff, heel, and toe to these variations because it's what I like. So it's what I do. These were knit for the Box of Socks Cal hosted by Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast. And I don't know what number this is. Maybe 6? Maybe 7. I don't know. But they were lovely and fun, and I really enjoyed them. Next finished object is the Little Angel Face Turban, which is a pattern by Amy Apple. And then she released this a little while ago, like maybe a couple months ago. Pretty much as soon as it came out, I cast it on because I thought it was super adorable. And I knit it for Lucy, who is my baby. And it's pretty much, it's a turban. She's got an adult version too. And that's the front. This little bow goes right up here. And then the back of it sits back on the bottom of their head. And this ties, so it opens up. You can put it on and tie it if you want. And I knit this out of Moonstone Dye Works, again, in my Merino single base in the Evane colorway. And it's just a cool purplish, silverish kind of colorway. And this was really, really fun and really quick to knit. I think I knit it in a couple days. It's a super tiny little baby hat with some stretchy garter on top. And then the sides and the back are stockinette with eyelets. And it was really fun, really quick. She hasn't actually worn it yet. But I would say this is pretty much a newborn size. So I should put it on her pretty soon. And that is that. So I'll show you. If you untie the ties, it opens up like that. And then you put it on. It's got this gap right here and you tie it shut. Super cute. And okay. Next finished object is another baby hat. This one She has been wearing a lot. It's worsted weight, and it has been cooler sometimes when I take her out on a walk, which I've been doing pretty much every day. And she needed a thicker knit hat. She's got that one, which is fingering weight, and some other just cotton ones, but she needed, I felt like, a thicker knit one. So I made this pretty quick after she was born, which I was super impressed with. And it is just a knitted beanie. Now I used the pattern from Tin Can Knits for the barley hat. I just did not do the garter sections, and I did the newborn size, I think, and it's perfect. I love it. It is knit in Dream in Color. Here are the leftovers. This is Dream in Color Classy, which is their worsted weight yarn in, it doesn't have a colorway name. It's called October Dream Club 2014. I was a member of one of their yarn clubs in 2014, and this was one of the skeins that I got. And I knit this with leftovers from another project. I actually knit the cowl whose pattern came with this yarn for the club back in 2014 and gifted it to a coworker. And then she lost it. But I really love the colors of this hat. They're nice and autumnal. Let's use the right word now. Autumnal. And she looks super cute in it. Colors are so pretty on this. I love it. So those are all my finished objects. That's a lot. But I got most of them done a while ago. So now I will talk about my works in progress, which is a little light and is probably going to remain pretty light for a while. I don't imagine I will get any of these things done in any sort of good timing. I kind of wonder like how often I'm going to be able to do a podcast, not only because of when I can record, but how often I'm actually going to like be able to work on things and get things done. So we'll see how much these progress. My first work in progress is a pair of socks. Of course, I need a pair of vanilla socks right now for those short moments that I can knit. This is living in my Emerald Fibers bag. And here's the yarn that I'm using. So this is Mint Rain Yarns. It's a self-striping yarn, and it's in the Rose Tyler colorway. Yeah, Rose Tyler colorway. And here are the socks that I have so far. This is the first one. And this is my good old standard 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. I cast on 56 stitches using a German twisted cast on. And the colors in this self-striping yarn are so beautiful. They're totally me, purple pink. Purple pink. And I have gone down the leg. I've started my heel flap. And I do a slip stitch heel flap, and that's where I am. I'm using a size 1 Haya sharp needle, and I very much enjoy them. This yarn is a Superwash Merino Nylon 80/20 blend. It's very nice and bouncy and twisty, and I love it. Okay. Now, the next project I have is something that I started. My whole life right now is the whole timeline of my life and the things that I do. I feel like begin at the point of when Lucy was born, because everything I do was like, well, I did this before Lucy was born. I did this a week after Lucy was born. So anyway, this was cast on and knit in the weeks leading up to Lucy being born, and I have not touched it since, but I really like it. I really want to get back to it. It is living in my Neon Cats project bag. And it is the Flora Cardi. This is a pattern, it's a Madder Root pattern by Carrie Bostic Hogue, and it's a really, really cool open front cardigan made out of lace weight yarn, and it was published in Making Magazine, the first issue, which I do have. I used to have a subscription to Making Magazine, I don't anymore, but I was kind of searching around for what I could do with this yarn, and that was perfect. I've got one skein of this. It is Sincere Sheep, Vernal, which is a silk and linen blend, and it's a lace weight. And I just have the one skein. It's got pretty good yardage. Apparently I don't have the tag for it anymore. Oh well. But I had enough yardage for this cardigan, and I had the pattern already, and I was sold. I was super sold. I do want to lengthen it a little bit, and I have over the yardage that it's called for, so hopefully I can do that. It's been so long since I've worked on this that I kind of forgot if this is correct or not, but I think this is right. I think it does not call for waist shaping, but I'm adding waist shaping. I'm pretty sure that's right. I also actually lost the pattern. Oh no, it's in a book. Never mind. I wonder where the book is. That would be helpful if I had that. Anyway, so here's what I have so far. It's a bottom-up cardigan, and it's got a garter hem, and the body is just stockinette. The front bands, the front panels on either side, are worked as you go, and it's a lace pattern. So there's where I'm at with that. And that's pretty much going to be the whole thing. It's just stockinette straight up, all of it except for the panels, which are this one lace repeat. And the sleeves are really simple and easy to put together, and I don't think you pick up for the sleeves at the end. I think they're worked into the body itself, but I could be wrong. I am knitting this on a US size 5 on my Looka needles, which I really enjoy and work really well with this yarn because they're not too slippy, and this yarn's really thin and it's really beautiful. I really was kind of craving like a linen knit, and this yarn has been in my stash for quite a while, linen and silk, and I've never really known what to do with it, and this was just perfect. So again though, the staple length of these fibers, if that's even what you call plant fibers and silk fibers, is super short. They're like that long. So as I work with this, they just fly everywhere. So that's a little bothersome. It's also something that makes me not want to work on it around Lucy, because I don't know if it's going to bother her. Like, do flyaways bother babies as much as they bother me? But it has been a little while since I've worked on this. These stitch markers indicate where my waist shaping is going to be, and in kind of just sloppily, slapdashily adding in some waist shaping. So it's nothing too technical or great, but I think I am going to like it because that's how I like things. Yeah. So this hopefully will return into my life pretty soon. Here's my swatch. I just swatched in stockinette. I got gauge. My last work in progress is pretty much what I've almost monogamously been working on since Lucy came around. Every time I get a chance to knit, which is usually only one row back and forth at a time, has been on this. This is kind of my priority. This is what I want to get done. I've been having a lot of fun working on it. It's another Hohi Locatelli cardigan. So this is the Quiet Stars cardigan, and this is out of the latest issue of Interpretations 5, which is the publication that she puts out with Vera Valimaki, and I bought the whole issue. There are several patterns in it that I really want to make, and it's gonna look super weird, but this is what I've got so far. This top weird lacy part right here is the collar. It's a big fat shawl collar, and it goes all the way down the front and it scrunches up in the back, which I love. And here it is from the back. That's the upper back right there. It's a knit pearl texture. Here's a close-up of the lace. I have got the arms done. They are the knit pearl pattern with the lace at the cuffs. I did both sleeves before finishing the body because I wanted to extend the length of the cardigan, and I wanted to use every last bit of yarn that I had to make that happen. So I did the sleeves first, that's done. Now all I have to worry about with the whole rest of my yarn is the length of the body. And I think that's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited about that. The yarn that I'm using is O Wool in the O Wash Fingering Base in the Pearly Muscle colorway. My pretty much favorite color of all time. This is that grayish, purplish, on the mauve spectrum, kind of. Grayish, purplish mostly, that I love. Favorite colorway of all time, pretty much. This is a really nice yarn. It's beautiful. I love working with it. It's a 2-ply fingering weight yarn. And it's just really, really fun to work on. It's got this lace at the back. So this is the upper back, and then starting here all the way down, it's going to have the lace, and the front panels are the lace again, and then there's a side panel on each side that has the texture. And it's been so fun to work on. I really, really like it, and I really want to wear it, so I really am making it a priority to get done. It's one of those cardigans where it's open front, A-line. It has a tie that you knit onto it. You can leave that off though. I'm probably going to do the tie, but I'm not sure yet. I'm using a size US 4 Haya interchangeable needle. And I did make one mistake with this cardigan so far. So with the sleeves, you knit on your gauge needle for the sleeve, and then you go down a needle size for the cuff, which is the lace. I did that on the first one. I forgot to do that on the second one. So this lace cuff is looser than the first lace cuff, but I don't know yet whether I'm going to rip it out and redo it. We'll see. I'm going to block it, see how it fits. If it's really noticeable and I hate it, I'll redo it. But if not, I might just leave it. And that is living in my Lost and Fond project bag, which I really love. This is one of my very favorite project bags that she gave to me as a gift, and I just love it so much. And here's the tag for the yarn that I'm using. Oh, well, this is my first time using their yarn, and I've always wanted to try it, and I really, really love it. It's beautiful. I started with 3 skeins and have most of the 3rd skein left to finish the length of the body. So I think I'm going to get a nice long cardigan. The cardigan in the pattern is a little on the shorter side for me. It's not cropped or waist length or anything. It goes down a little farther than that, but I like a really long cardigan. So I cannot wait to wear this. Okay, that's it for knitting. That is all of my knitting that I've been working on these past 2 months, and I love everything. I love everything so much, especially all my sweaters. Sweaters for me right now are like kind of my main focus. I've just been obsessed with them, and I want to knit more, and I have so many more that I want to knit after these 2 are done. But it's going to take a while. Knitting is so slow these days. Okay, so moving on to spinning. I did a bunch of spinning before Lucy was born. I super got re-bit with the spinning bug, and I just like banged out so much spinning. I banged out so much spinning. That was a poor choice of words. Anyway, the first thing I have is this, which is something that was on my wheel for a really, really, really long time. So what this is a bulky weight. Let me tell you exactly what it is. It's 253 grams total, 410 yards. Technically, I don't know if that's bulky, but bulky is what I was going for, and it's pretty thick. It's a 2-ply. Okay, I had to take a slight break, but I'm back without the cardigan because it is getting a little warm. I was talking about my newest hand spun, and so the yarn, the fiber that I used for this hand spun was spun right round Rambouillet in the Lulu colorway. Oh, which is funny. That's what my mom's calling Lucy's Lulu. And that is 1-ply. That's kind of the bright neon ply. It's got like neon pink, neon blue, green, purple, all kinds of colors. The other ply was a fiber that was Julie Spins in Falkland, Comb Top, and the Princess colorway. So here's the Julie Spins tag. This is one of the plies, and it's like all kind of light pinks and whites and purples. And then the bright neon ply is spun right round. They were both 4-ounce braids, and it got me 2 nice big puffy skeins. I really, really like it. It's really nice and puffy and squishy and soft, and it's beautiful. My intention for this handspun was to knit a Saunders shawl out of it, which is a Helen Stewart shawl with bulky weight yarn, and I still want to do that. I just need to cast it on. So that'll be happening sometime in my future. I just really, really love how this yarn came out. It's not often that I spin a bulky weight yarn, and it's not often that I combine 2 different hand-dyed braids into one yarn. I really, really like it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's interesting. I love the barber pulling, and I really like all the neons combined with the soft pinks and purples. Look at that. I love it so much. I think it's going to be a really loud and really bitchin' bulky weight shawl. I'm excited about it. Now I did have leftover Julie Spins, which was the Falkland. So with the leftovers, I did another little skein on its own. And this is another 2-ply. It's kind of the same weight, bulky-ish. And those were the colors just from the one Julie Spins. And this is cute. I don't know the yardage. I didn't measure. Oh wait, yeah, I did. It is 50 grams, 66 yards. So I've got this. And the next thing that I spun was some unknown fiber. My intention was to add this fiber in to this in case I ran out of the spun right round fiber and I wanted more yardage. I used a tiny bit of it in combination with to make this, but not much. And I ended up giving most of the braid away to a friend who was learning how to spin on a drop spindle. And I gave her the tag too, so I think it's spun right round, but I'm not sure. It is 47 grams, 100 yards, and I just kind of spun what was left over into 2 separate singles and plied them into another 2-ply. I want to say this is like a worsted weight, maybe a bulky. And so that's another cute little half skein of hand spun. The last thing that I spun, I think I spent like a week solid, just like spinning my eyes out. I loved it. It was so much fun, and I have not spun since then, but I really would like to get back to it. I did actually pick out my next fiber that I'm going to spin, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. It's hanging on the back of my spinning wheel. I have a ladybug, by the way, a shocked ladybug, and I adore it. I love that wheel. I bought it without trying it first because I was attracted to it. I thought it seemed like a good wheel. I did a lot of research before I bought it. I've had it probably for 5 years now, almost 5 years. And it ended up working out great for me. I know you're not really supposed to buy a wheel before trying it because it's a huge investment, but I was really gung-ho and hard to stop at the time. I wanted a wheel and I wanted it right now, and I wanted that wheel and I didn't care. And I bought it, and I was super lucky because it really fits me. It fits my body. It's really comfortable for me, and I love how it spins. And I think it's a really beautiful wheel. I really, really do. Anyway, the last thing I spun was this little mini skein of hand spun, and I really love this. It's really beautiful, like pale tones of browns and teals and pinks. I love it. And this is some fiber that was sent to me by Caitlin of the Wool Jewel podcast that she dyed herself. She kind of was experimenting with fiber because she had just bought a spinning wheel. So she dyed some just white fiber. I'm not sure what it is. BFL maybe? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But she showed it on her podcast, and I told her that I thought it was really beautiful. And so she sent me some in a swap that we did. And it's pretty much a fingering weight, and I plan to put it in my granny stripe crochet blanket. So this concludes my handspun parade. This is everything I spun in the couple weeks before Lucy was born. Probably in about a week. And I love it. I am going to show you what I'm going to work on next, if I ever get to it. This is Spunky Eclectic it's 4 ounces of merino in the black pearl colorway. And Spunky Eclectic is the store that I bought my spinning wheel from, and I ended up joining their yarn club for probably, I don't know, anywhere from 6 months to a year. And before I quit it, because I was building up a fiber stash that I needed to get through, and this came from that. I really love Spunky Eclectic. They offer a really nice variety of wool breeds, and their hand dyeing on those breeds is really beautiful. This one is a dark merino. So if you could see this right here, this brown is the bare wool, and then they've over dyed it with some reds and teals and darker browns. And so this is what's up next on my wheel, and I don't know when I'm ever going to get to it, but here's the tag. And I highly, highly recommend Spunky Eclectic for fiber if you haven't checked them out yet. Also, Spunky Eclectic, the woman who runs it, whose name I can't remember, does a Craftsy class, which is the class that I learned pretty much how to spin from. Anyway, it's really good. I'll link to it in the show notes if I make show notes. If not, look up who runs Spunky Eclectic and find her Craftsy class. Or just ask me and I'll tell you later. I would be happy to. So that's it for spinning. Sewing. I have a sewing thing. I have 2 sewing things. I'll go get the other one later. I have not been sewing for a very long time. My whole pregnancy, pretty much, I did not sew at all because it was just not comfortable. I do all my cutting of fabric and patterns and stuff on the floor, and I was just not going to do that while I was pregnant. So I haven't sewed in a long time, except for these 2 projects, which I'm just so excited about. So the first one is this thing. This is a ring sling, which is a baby wearing device. And pretty much it's a length of fabric. You make a circle, you put this across your body, and there's a big long tail. And it's got these rings on it. Now, these things, I decided I wanted one, but they're expensive. They're very expensive. And I looked at the construction of it and I was like, I can make that like super easy. So I made one. Pretty much what it is a big, long length of fabric. And it's just, what do you call it, hemmed around all the edges. And I did kind of a double fold over thing, and you can see the, what do you call it, selvage, because I did it sloppy kind of here. And then, so it's a big long rectangle. I used about 2 yards of a chambray. Next time I make one, I'm gonna make like, I'm gonna do like 2 1/4, 2.5 yards because it's a little short. And I took my width of fabric and just cut it in half. So whatever that is, I don't remember and not gonna measure right now. But it's a width of fabric and about 2 yards. And I just took that big long rectangle, hemmed all around the edges, and then I took these rings. There's 2 of these metal rings here. I slipped the rectangle through the rings and then hemmed it down on one side. So it makes this pocket that the rings are through. Now, I won't go into all of the details on how to wear it and how to use it. If you're interested, you can look it up, but this is pretty much what it is. And you wrap it around your body, put your baby in it, and you carry your baby in it. And I used, I think I said it, I used chambray, which is just something I had because I wanted to use what I had because I wanted to make it right now. And I really wanted to use linen. I wanted to use a lightweight linen, and I have about 1.5 yards of lightweight linen, but that wasn't enough, and I wasn't sure about the structure of it because I could have cut it in half and then sewed them one on top of the other for length, but I didn't want to. So I had 2 yards of this, and it's chambray, but it's a little thick for the purpose. I wish it was thinner. So I think I want to make another one and just buy some more lightweight linen and do it again. Now these rings I purchased from ringslings.com. If you're interested in making a ring sling, I highly recommend that website. You do need rings specifically made for ring slings because they're strong enough to not break. And I bought like a sample pack. So they have different sizes. This is the large size, and then I got a medium size and a small size, and you need 2 rings to make a sling. So I've got 2 more that I can use for different slings, and I think I'm gonna do another lightweight linen one with the medium size ring. But this is a little heavy weight for use. She does fit in it, and it does work, but she doesn't love it. I feel like it's just a little too stiff. It was really easy to make though. So like I said, pretty much it's just 2 yards, but I would do up to 2.5 yards next time. Half of the width, hem all the way around the edges, and then what I did is on one end, I measured 15 inches in, slid the rings onto that end, folded the fabric over, and then at that 15-inch mark, just sewed it down again. And I sewed like a triple seam. I don't know if you can see it, but there's 3 lines down there. And that's it. Then I was done. And it's really cool. I'm so happy I made this. I really like it. My preferred baby wearing method right now is a wrap, which is just a long stretch jersey length of fabric, and that I didn't make, which you could make super easy because all it is a long rectangle of stretch jersey, and that's it. But I do have the Solly Baby brand. I also have the Moby brand, and I really like those better than this so far, but I think once I make a lighter weight version of this, I might like it a little better. So we'll see, but that was really cool. I was really proud of myself for making that, and I did make that after she was born, which is kind of crazy. And the next thing that I made, I'm gonna go grab a bird. Okay. So I got this idea from Isabella Fluffy Fibers because she made one for her husband and I copied her. She did put a little like tutorial on Instagram TV, which I didn't have, but I got just so that I could watch her tutorial, and it was super helpful. And I made a Kindle case for my husband. Now I made this also out of scrap fiber fabric stash, and this is just some plaid. It's like a, what do you call that stuff? Flannel? Plaid flannel that I got a huge amount of at a thrift store probably 15 years ago, and I've had it ever since, and I've used it slowly for different things. I also made a needle case out of it, which I was going to show you, but I don't know where it is right now. So. But pretty much it's a rectangle. It's got a flap, and it opens up, and this is just some natural canvas inside. And the closure that I used, because I didn't have any like special snaps or anything like that, and I didn't want to do a buttonhole because it would be a whole new skill I'd have to learn, and I wanted to get this done like right now. That's how I roll these days. So I just went into my button stash and found 2 buttons, attached a length of yarn, which this is Blue Moon Fiber Art Socks That Rock medium weight in the bittersweet colorway. And I attached it to this button, and then you close it by just going like that. Now, if you are interested in making one of these, I won't tell you how to make it, but check out Fluffy Fibers Instagram TV. I don't know if it's still there, but she does a really good tutorial about it. And I was super, super proud of this. I kind of whipped this up in a morning, and I couldn't believe it. I was really proud of myself. So this is my other sewing project that I've done, and that's everything. I'm going to try to make this goodbye quick because my battery light is flashing at me, so I have a feeling it's going to cut off. But thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun recording this, and I'm so excited to get back into recording. They're probably going to be a little more infrequent than normal, but I'm really, really excited to be back in the podcasting game. I hope you guys have been having a lovely summer. I have, and look out for that other video that I'm going to do about my daughter. If you're interested in that, that's coming up soon, hopefully. And thanks for being with me. I really appreciate it. I will leave it at that. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of summer. Happy early fall if I don't see you until fall starts. And have fun and stay awesome. Bye, guys. Look who I woke up from her nap. Look who I woke up from her nap. Lucy, say hi to the knitting community. Hi. She was awesome and slept through my entire recording of this podcast. And now she's all sleepy. But she wanted to say hi. She wanted to say hi to everybody. Okay. Okay, bye. Say bye, Lucy.